Am I the asshole for not allowing my sister's dogs loose in my new car? I, 21F, and my sister 19F, are going to Thanksgiving at our Nana's next month. She lives in a small town in Missouri about 3 hours away. My sister doesn't have a driver's license, car, or a job, so it was implied I would be taking her with me. I was fine with that. My sister brought it up to me that she would be bringing her 2 dogs with her. She immediately added that they will be free roaming in the car before I could say anything to the first statement. I told her I would not be okay with that because it's a brand new car and one of her 2 dogs is very misbehaved. They are both smallish dogs that are about 20 pounds each. I told her I'm fine with having them in crates, secured in the trunk. I drive a new Toyota RAV4, so is plenty of space for some roomy crates and there is plenty of airflow. She told me I can't expect her to make her do that to her dogs. I told her that, yes, in fact I can. It's my car and your free ride to Grandma's. She told me I will let them free roam. I told her she doesn't get to decide that. She then says, I'm not telling you, I'm demanding you. Her dogs literally start fighting while we are talking. I tell her, you can find a ride then. She then tells me to leave and go back to my apartment. Am I the asshole? Too long did not read. My sister demands I let her dogs free roam in my brand new car and is being super unreasonable. Edit. To be more clear, yes, my Nana is aware the dogs will be coming. The car is an SUV, so the trunk is not closed off from the cabin at all. The dogs would be visible from the back seat. I have cloth seats that would just be a magnet for dog hair and dog stink. She doesn't keep her dogs groomed very well at all, and simply petting one for a few seconds will stink up your hand. There are not any clear laws for the state of OK or MO that have requirements for dog restraints. Thank you all for confirming my doubts. She was being manipulative ASF, and I started to doubt myself over the situation. I was thinking I was being irrational over this. Not the asshole. Having them crated to drive safely isn't negotiable. Your car, your rules. Your sister sounds entitled. Not the asshole. Regardless of whether it is your car or not, dogs should be in crates when traveling for the safety of the driver, passengers, and the dogs. Not the asshole. At this point, even if she agreed to crate her dogs, I still wouldn't take her. The level of disrespect and lack maturity is just too much. I'll bet that Nana doesn't even know she's hosting dogs for the holidays. Beggars can't be demanders. Your sister needs to get a job to support her delusions of power. Not the asshole, and hold that line. Aside from the interior of your car. You know what dogs sound like when that car gets in an accident? I do. Tennis shoes in the dryer. That's what it sounds like as they smack their head on the side window, then the roof, then the console, then the side window again. My 100 pounds, well-behaved Shep has a crash-tested harness and is in a 5-point restraint system while in the car. In the past, I've taken the seats out of my minivan to use the seat anchors for strapping down crates. Anything to keep my babies safe. Your sister needs to be a more responsible pet owner. Not the asshole. It's not just that you have a new car. Dogs should be restrained in a vehicle for safety reasons. Your sister can hitch a ride with someone else. Oh, and tell Nana that your sister is planning on bringing her dogs. Guarantee Nana is not privy to this information. Am I the asshole for asking my wife permission to go to a very close friend's wedding overseas, 8 hours away? I have a very close friend that will have his wedding next year. He invited me as one of the groomsmen, and of course my whole family, wife and 2 kids, 7 years and 4 years old. Due to financial and circumstances, we cannot as a family attend. So I then asked if I can go by myself instead, and spend max of 4 or 5 days overseas to celebrate with them. Please note that this friend, and 4 other closest brothers that I truly love and trust with all my heart will also be there. Please also note that we had an all-boys trip 3 years back as part of a bucket list, and wife approved it. But this time, she got really upset. She said how could I even think of leaving my whole family over a wedding, and that I'm putting the guilt on her, and that I should have realized by myself that it was a no from the get-go. Lastly, she said that I should be a father and be done with my bachelorhood. I'm a single earner but able to afford more than enough for them. I don't drink. I don't do drugs. I don't womanize. I just work and go home, and the only real friends I have are those boys overseas. Now we're not talking for 2 days, and I don't know if I'm the asshole for even asking. Due to financial and circumstances, we cannot as a family attend. I'm a single earner but able to afford more than enough for them. These seem contradictory, so it makes me think you're not telling the whole story. Edit. I'm not sure why me saying this makes so many people think I'm entitled. Yes, I know there is a cost difference between 4 people traveling and just 1 person traveling. My point was that OP just sounds inconsistent because saying he earns more than enough makes it sound to me like he's earning above/well above what they need. Info. You mentioned the trip 3 years ago. Your wife would have had a 4-year-old and 1-year-old. Is it possible that she struggled then whilst you were away and feels that you haven't listened to her on this if you're asking for another trip like it? It might be that the fact you want to tack on extra time to celebrate beyond the wedding is not being considerate of what that means for her at home with the children. Does she get to go on trips like this with her friends, alone? If not, the fact you've already had a big boys trip, and this would be another one, might be the reason. It may also be the context. We can't afford this, so I want to do it alone so I don't miss out. May feel like you're not being a team player and you're prioritizing your own leisure time at the expense of the family. Info. Has your wife had any breaks from motherhood since the birth of your 4-year-old? And if so, have you been the sole carer for your 2 children? If not, why not? You had an all-boys trip 3 years ago, leaving your wife to care for a 1-year-old and a 4-year-old. You state you love these guys with all your heart. Cool, but you chose to get married and have kids. Do you love your wife and children enough to put them first in your life way above these guys? You decide. Not the asshole based on the info provided. But is it possible this is the straw that broke the camel's back? When my children were small I used to be the sole earner and didn't do drugs, booze, women, etc., but I needed to do more than that. I should have helped more with the kids and around the home. Not saying you're like me, but if you are, you'd be better off changing. Info. Does your wife get to go on girls' trips or weddings/outings with her friends? Question. Does your wife get a week off for her friends too? How much help are you around the house and with the kids? I don't mean working. I mean with her and the kids. Would I be the asshole if I repaired my sister's grave behind my mom's back? When I 40F was 6, my big sister passed away suddenly at 7.5 years old. She was buried in a cemetery that would later be made heritage listed, and so only family members of those already buried there can consequently be buried there as well. My Nana and Poppy and also buried there. I used to visit my sister often, then I moved interstate, and only visited her once a year. After having kids, I didn't get to visit for a long time, but now the kids are older, I want to start visiting her again when I can. For as long as I can remember, my sister's photo on her grave has been cracked. For years ago my dad passed away, and my mom had him cremated. We talked about putting a marker next to my sister on the 1st anniversary of his death, but it never happened. So this year I decided I would research how to get a marker placed and my sister's photo fixed. This is no easy task as the cemetery is privately owned, and I was calling numbers, leaving messages, sending emails, and getting nowhere. Finally I had the bright idea to call my aunt because she and my other aunt had organized my Nana's funeral some years back. She said that herself and my uncle would go to the church and try to work it all out. However, when I mentioned fixing my sister's photo, my aunt went silent for a sec. She told me my sister's photo has been cracked from a year after her burial. Apparently my aunt asked my mum if she want the photo fixed. My mum didn't know it was broken because she has not returned to the grave since the funeral. It's just too hard for her to return. My mum is atheist, and she has said to me before that she never wants to go there because my sister is not there and mum holds her in her memories. I feel a connection when I visit my sister's grave. I totally understand why my mum doesn't go though. Okay, so when my aunt said we should fix it, my mum said no, leave it alone. So now for the asshole bit. I really want my sister photo fixed. It looks terrible. My mum never visits her grave, but I do, and my aunt and my uncle do. We all want her photo fixed. My big sister was my best friend. I love her so much. Would I be the asshole if I had her photo fixed? I've had some friends say to just do it, and don't tell my mum. I've others say that my mum overrides me because it's her daughter, and I'm just her sister. I'm really torn. My mum seems to have strong feelings about it. Would I be the asshole if I just fixed my sister's grave without my mum's permission or blessing because I visit and she never does? Not the asshole. Your mother has already said that the grave holds no significance to her, as she has her own way of mourning. The grave does hold significance to you and your other relatives. Fix the photo. You deserve to be able to mourn in your own way too. NH. I would say go ahead and fix it, but don't tell your mother, and tell everyone else not to tell her. If there's a chance she will see it, at another funeral for example. Then you must tell her. Sometimes the accidents that happen, such as a cracked picture, become part of the memorial for some people. Also, if you don't know the story behind the crack, maybe your mother cracked it in a rage at losing her child, then you need to be careful that you aren't undoing some kind of grieving process for someone else. People are weirdly possessive around death and funerals and graves/memorials, so you need to tread carefully, but I think there's no real harm in repairing this if it's a simple crack caused by weather and your mother won't see it. Info. My mom seems to have strong feelings about it. It sounds like you haven't actually talked to your mom about this directly, so why do you think she has strong feelings about this? And if it is important to her that the photo specifically not be fixed, why? Not just fix it. But your aunt asked your mother about it over 30 years ago. A lot of time has gone by. You're the one that goes there is perfectly reasonable. You want your sister grave repaired and respected. Not the asshole go ahead and fix it. If she does not visit it anyway, it should not matter. Okay, update for everyone. I talked to my mom about putting a plaque for my dad next to my sister, which is fine. I put my big girl pants on and asked about my sister's photo, and she said if it means something to me, then I have her blessing to go ahead and have it fixed. Thanks to everyone who encouraged me and gave me good advice. I feel like a weight is lifted, and hopefully, next time I visit my sister, her photo will be restored red heart. Am I the asshole for kicking my son out because he has autism? I, 52M, have a son, Jake, 23M, who was diagnosed with autism when he was 7. My wife, 50F, and I have always tried to be supportive, got him therapy, worked with his schools, the whole 9 yards. The problem is that Jake has been living with us rent-free since he graduated high school. He went to community college for a semester but dropped out. He works part-time at a grocery store, about 15 hours a week, and spends the rest of his time in his room gaming or on his computer. We've asked him repeatedly to either go back to school, get a full-time job, or at least contribute to household chores. He says his autism makes it too hard to work more hours because of the sensory issues and social exhaustion. I get that, I really do. But my wife and I are getting older, and we can't support him forever. Last month, I sat him down and told him he needed to see a therapist to work on independent living skills and start applying for full-time jobs, even if they're remote. He refused, saying he's fine as is, and that we're being ableist for not accepting his limitations. Here's where I might be TA. I told him he has until the end of the month to either start making concrete progress, therapy appointments scheduled, more job applications, something, or he needs to find somewhere else to live. My wife thinks I'm being too harsh and that we need to be more understanding. My brother says I'm doing tough love, and it's overdue. Jake called me an ableist asshole and said I'm punishing him for being autistic. But I'm not, I'm asking him to try. He's capable of more than he's doing. His therapist even said so years ago. So am I the asshole? Jake called me an ableist asshole and said I'm punishing him for being autistic. Have you flat out asked him how he's going to live when you and your wife die? And tell him what age he'll be when that can possibly happen, because it's sooner than he thinks. If he wants to play the disability card, then perhaps it is time for him to look into disability accommodation options. What will he do when you die? Your title is incorrect. It should read, am I the asshole for kicking my son out because he is lazy? You are not kicking him out because he has autism. Why would you even say that? You are giving him the option of getting therapy and start looking for a job with more hours, so he can stay at home. Or he has to live somewhere else. Not the asshole. He's weaponizing his disability. You're giving him a lot, and he's abusing it. Info, what have you done to prepare your son for employment and independence? Why do you feel your opinion overrules your wife's? Not the asshole. But I do think you need to speak to a therapist as well to figure out if independent living is in the cards for him. And you need to help him find the resources to either develop those independent living skills or transitioning to a group home. Honestly, these are things you should have done when he was a teen. It shouldn't have reached this point, as you should have made a plan years ago.